All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Thank you, everyone. The post-Labor Day audience is my favorite recorded audience. Wow. I am overwhelmed. Might I say we were on code red, which is why we're starting just a few minutes past the top of the hour. We were on a code red. I don't need to tell you what a code red is, but I'm going to tell you anyway. My credibility glasses were missing.
What?
Yes, I know. These glasses, which give me ultimate credibility, you've probably seen them in some of my public appearances. No doubt you've seen them on this show. They give me the gravitas, the credibility, and without them, honestly, it's weak. It's weak. Like Superman without his cape. Like, give me another parallel, Kim. Like a Jose Andreas without a kitchen.
There you go.
That was weak. Speaking of weak. Anyway, I've got them. The code red has been canceled, and I am back fully ready to rock it. On the show today, somebody special, David Cay Johnston, the Pulitzer Prize winner in hour 2. You've really come on a great, great day. Kim is here after a relaxing Labor Day weekend. Tony is here.
Thanks, Tony.
He never relaxes because he never really has a weekend. He has 40 jobs, and I'm sure that many of them were in action over the weekend. I'm wearing the Born to Peacefully Resist t-shirt. I love this t-shirt. It's one of the t-shirts you can get at getmarkmerch.com. Check it out, getmarkmerch.com. You can knock around in there, and you can get a t-shirt just like Daddy has. And there it is. These are designs that came out of Courtney's work. They're ladies' tees. I think some of the ladies' tees are attractive. And those are sort of specialty designs too, Born to Peacefully Resist, in different designs. But then there is just rocking the basic merch for the show, which everything from bucket hats to coffee mugs to the socks. I don't know if there are coffee mugs, actually. They're still in the works. I don't know what the story is on those.
There's a wine tumbler.
The socks. Yes, the wine tumbler. Very popular. And the socks. So, I know.
I like the yellow sunshine shirt. It's very happy.
That's funny you say that, because you know that is exactly why I like it, the yellow sunshine shirt. Yeah. And I have to say, what's odd is I'm not a happy person, Kim. I'm not. I think this actually could improve your mood. So it may be. Yeah. But thank you for noticing. And that is the wrap on that. You can get one just like I have. Now, I do have some things to...
Mark Thompson Show.
I do have some things to relate to you. We're waiting on an address from Trump and the White House. We may or may not. I guess we can jump on it live when it comes down. We're still waiting. We're supposed to be 2 o'clock Eastern, and we go on the air around 2 o'clock Eastern. So we thought we'd jump in progress, but it's still...
We're all waiting. We're all waiting for this. Sorry to talk over you. We're all waiting for this big announcement. And what I understand is it's a drum roll. It's going to be Trump announcing that the Space Command headquarters will be moving from Colorado to Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, that's the major announcement.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, that's the big news.
Yeah.
Big news.
I mean, we don't even play our major announcement open or production element on this show unless it's really a major announcement.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're going to do another meetup, or we book some guest you need to know about, or whatever. But Trump really is doing two things. Probably one, he's trying to knock down rumors that he's, got one cankle in the grave. And then he's also trying to, I think, just steal, and this Tony made the point earlier, steal the moment. he loves announcements. He loves pronouncements. We've said that on this show forever, ever since Trump was a thing. We talk about the fact that he enjoys the performative aspect of being president, of being the boss. Let me tell you, I'll have a major announcement on Monday, or I'll have a major announcement on Tuesday, a major announcement on Wednesday. In 2 weeks, I'll have a major announcement. And so that's what, we're waiting on. But for those who were delusional, and by the way, I respect delusional. I understand sometimes delusion is the best way to go, the best way to retain sanity. For those who were delusionally thinking that Trump is going to come forward on this special day, the day after Labor Day, a day on which he's dogged by rumors that he's so ill, he may be faltering, maybe no longer able to serve, and this is going to be his announcement that he's going to step aside and give the reins over to somebody else, JD Vance. That's crazy. There is nothing about Donald Trump that would suggest that that would be the case. I couldn't believe these rumors over the weekend. If Donald Trump were at Walter Reed and it was touch and go, he would still not turn the reins of command over to JD Vance. Just wouldn't happen. I mean, even if you're just auditing the Trump class, you should know that. Ole Henson said, what was it? I missed it. I'm sorry. He will come up with new drama each week to keep the press busy. That's exactly it. Right. Trevor Starr says, do you think I will be investigated, that is I, Trevor Starr, by the Secret Service if I just sent a copy of the 25th Amendment to every member of the cabinet? Excuse me. Yeah, the 25th Amendment is another delusional thing that not just Democrats, but anti-Trumpers come up with. The idea somehow that you would remove this president or pretty much any other president, certainly not a GOP president. Democrats, maybe they like to kind of, eat their own. But I would say that you have to really, if you read through the 25th Amendment, get so many signatures, so many people have to accede to that, so many have to agree to removal. You just won't get that. You're just not going to get that kind of, unanimity among these kinds of large groups of people who serve the president. Chaplain Fred says for a $10 super chat, hi, Mark and Kim. Glad to see you back after a long weekend. It is raining in my beautiful Ritchie Valens Valley. Glad to see you better, Mark. My prayers worked again, I guess. I'm laughing because, if the patient gets better, then the prayers worked. If the patient doesn't get better, it's because you guys aren't praying hard enough. That's the right. It's all about the prayers. It
doesn't hurt to have a chaplain on your side.
It does not. You're right about that. I am very happy to have Chaplain Fred. If I have to have a chaplain, and as I say, it's nice to have one. I'm glad it's Chaplain Fred. By the way, what was thrown out of the White House window? This is an interesting question asked by someone who went by so quickly I didn't get a chance to focus on it, but let me just follow up on that. This is what was spotted at the White House over the weekend, something thrown out of the window there. Take a look. Those watching on YouTube, if you're just listening, it's hard to see. It's kind of like a dark or black, is it a bag or? It's out of the second-story window of the White House.
Oh.
It looks like maybe the size of a carry-on bag or something. What do you think it is, Kim?
Secret documents headed for the bathroom at Mar-a-Lago? I don't know.
No. Yeah.
How do you smuggle those out? I don't know.
Don't know what it. Tony, thoughts? Like anything? I mean, just describe the size. Am I right? The sizing seems just odd. What could it possibly be? Anyway, that was spotted. We've shown it to you a couple of times. We are taking multiple suggestions. It's the Epstein files, of course.
Oh, the Epstein files.
Didn't realize it. They did release it. It's a different kind of, it's the new Trump kind of release. We just throw them out the window and hey, hello, we released them. I mean, I can't help it if you guys weren't there to read them. So,
is that, what part of the White House is that? Is that the residence?
Second story probably is, I would think. The nuclear codes, says Len Bob. Yeah,
Melania's
gold
mad.
bars going to the bank, says
Yeah.
Calvin Wong, shadow producer of this show. Body parts, says Linda. Well, it's quite, there are quite a few theories at work here. Trump's real medical record, says Gil C. Yeah, could be. It is bizarre. It is bizarre. Just checking, just to explain, just checking the live thread. And Trump's diapers, says Chaplain Fred.
Oh,
well, could be. That's
yeah.
kind of... I'll tell you something about the diaper thing. I don't like to make fun of that. You know, I don't make fun of his weight. I don't make fun of his skin. I don't make fun of his hair. I don't make fun of the diaper thing. Because I feel like I'm headed to diaper land too. I mean, we're all headed there at some point. You know, if you live long enough, your body begins to shut down. And I guess maybe I feel like that's tempting the fates if I make fun of somebody else. So I don't do it.
Wheels
I've just never been comfortable with it. Even when I was a younger person, not sort of so close to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's one of those things. You need them. I mean, it's it, you know. Trump spent the whole weekend hiding while the dictators had a summit without him. Seeing everyone post, "Is he dead yet?" Love that for him, says Murphy Rowan with a $10 super chat. Yeah, what a wonderful weekend he must have had, to the extent that he was aware of and monitoring or informed of the meeting between Putin, Modi, and Xi. It was like dictators on parade. And hey, you know, FOMO for Trump. Major FOMO. What's my boyfriend, Vlad, doing with those two other men?
He wasn't invited.
It was a very tough spot for him.
Was he invited? I don't know.
I absolutely can. I'm sure he was not. I'm sure he was not. And on a serious note, and there's sort of seriousness woven through some of this, the decisions he's made, particularly the one with the tariffs on India, it drives India closer to China. It's like, that is not even 3D chess. It's so causal, that outcome. It's so completely, demonstrably the reason that India then moves closer to China. I mean, these things he does, reckless, chaotic, not well thought out, done out of a kind of a reptilian brain control of Trump. These things, they not only have an effect on life in America, they don't only affect the American economy, they similarly affect the world, both economically and in terms of alliances and relationships. And so when Trump takes us out of NATO, which he hasn't done formally yet, I understand, but when he pulls back from Europe, then what is I was reading an article over the weekend, and I think it was the Washington Post, maybe the New York Times, like one of those mainstream papers, in which they were pointing out to the fact, they were pointing to NATO falling apart at this point in NATO's evolution. And I thought, NATO's not falling apart because of anything but the United States pulling back from NATO. That's the only reason NATO, if you want to say, is falling apart. That's the only reason NATO is falling apart. So these decisions he's made, particularly these geopolitical decisions, the repercussions are massive. The repercussions are substantial. And the idea somehow that we lose track of that is bizarre to me. I think it's just I think it's a symptom of the fact that the news cycle is just overwhelmed, with so much. So, I mean, what do you focus on? ICE agents in the streets. You've got, again, you've got tariffs. You've got, withering inflation in the offing, perhaps. Harry Magnan said something. There it is. Happy Tuesday. Every week should start this way. Here's from Michael Shore's mug. A $5 super chat. Thank you. Super chats are live.
Big shout out.
And big shout out to all of you. By the way, speaking of big shout outs, I wanted to recognize some PayPal supporters. And before I do it, though, I do want to get into a couple of the news stories. So we kind of told you, if you're just joining us, what the White House announcement will be. As usual, it's overblown and it's full of Trump puffery, which is, it's going to be a major announcement. You tune in on Monday. I'm going to tell everyone, tune in on Tuesday, tune in on Wednesday, whatever the day is. Today, apparently the major announcement, according to Kim, is that is it the Space Force? Is it Space Force or the
Space Force headquarters will be moving from Colorado to Alabama. That's the big news, apparently.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll see. But once he gets in front of the microphone, he just starts yammering on. So it could be anything. We don't know.
It could be a major announcement that goes into another major announcement, into a third major announcement. You're absolutely right. There's the Space Force flag. Thank you, Tony, as it was being flown there inside the Oval Office. What a, many made fun of the Space Force. And it's easy to make fun of everything that he does because everything he does is so impulsive and poorly thought out. And then it's staffed. If he creates a new government agency or control over an existing government agency, it's staffed inevitably by Trump loyalists who are, anybody? Incompetent, of course. Yes, exactly. So the cruelty, they do cruelty and brutality well. They do cover their asses well, but they don't do competence well. They don't. So anyway, let me get back to Space Force. There is a legitimate thing going on in space that is associated with crowded satellite orbits and control of communications, all this stuff, and some of it dovetails with the world of Elon Musk, is important. So I don't know if we call it Space Force. It makes it sound Star Wars-y, which I guess is what he wants. But the idea that some part of NASA or some part of the scientific aerospace community should be concerned with that is not ridiculous. Now, everything else out of Trump, as I say, not well thought out. The Alabama thing is clearly it's a bone he's throwing to some Alabama red state politician. I don't know, maybe even in the chat, you know more than I do, but that's what that's about. I mean, Biden said it's going to stay where it was. Biden, and then probably because Biden said it's going to stay, it was in Colorado, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colorado to now Alabama.
Yeah.
What was that movie? Yeah. What was that movie where they were fighting these giant bugs in space? You remember that? These giant alien bugs, and they had to go fight them. Tony knows. Tony, I'm sure he knows.
I mean, aliens, they kind of look like, I don't know.
No, they were
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Thank you.
Great movie.
You're awesome. That's what Space Force reminds me of, Starship Troopers, because it was this police, military in space fighting all these creatures. Anyway, sorry.
Starship Troopers, if I can just tell you a little show business story.
Were you in that movie too?
Well, not really, but I'd like to, everybody grab a cup of coffee and Uncle Mark will tell you a little show business story. It's not long. It's more of kind of a reference. But let me just grab my Coachella Valley coffee and tell you, it just brings me back to the days of show business when I was I was on the MGM lot. Now called the Sony lot. Maybe it was the Sony lot back then too. I don't really recall. I think it was the 90s. When did that movie come out? Starship Troopers. Tony, there's the poster for it. I was on the lot because I've been cast in a movie. I'd ask you to guess, but I've done so many films, you probably would lose track of all of the.
Do you know who I am?
Yes, exactly.
Kind of a big deal.
I was in Air Force One.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
right.
cast in Air Force One, and it's
Great
a
movie.
3-day shoot. And I'm on the Sony lot, as they say, MGM lot.
Palling around with Harrison Ford, as one does.
And Gary Oldman. And when you walk up and down the alleyways there that are sort of lined by these huge sound stages, there were all of these people who were dressed as Starship Trooper people. It was incredible. There were hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what the movie was until like day 2. I say, what are you guys doing? We're shooting Air Force One over here. What are you guys? I try to say it like what are you guys doing? We're shooting Air Force One over here with Wolfgang Peterson. Maybe you've heard of him. What are you guys doing? And they said Starship Troopers. And there it is.
Yeah.
Those exact outfits. There were tons of them. That is I was adjacent to Starship Troopers, but not ever. I was in Air Force One. Both films did well. So, anyway, there is a legitimate thing happening in space from the standpoint of American territorial sovereignty, if you want to think of it that way, for satellites, communication satellites. Tony's got a picture up of all of the satellites that are up around planet Earth right now. So you can get a sense of that there's like a real thing going on. But there's no real thing or real policy being affected by anything from this administration. They are an absolute malevolent force when it comes to any sort of policy. I'm convinced that everything they meddle with only gets worse. And so when he talks about Space Force again, his big announcement is going to be that they're moving it from Colorado to Alabama. Whatever, dude. As Kim says, he might blither on into something else, but that's the real issue if you ever wanted to address the real issue. I feel the same way about crime. You tell me crime is bad in Washington, D.C., we can have a debate over whether crime is bad. I mean, I get that it's not as bad as it was. You won't say that, Mr. President. You want to make it sound like it's a hellscape in Washington, D.C. I'll say that there is crime there. And I don't mean to say it offhandedly like it's no big deal. I think crime is a very big deal. But it's a big city. There's crime in big cities. There's crime in rural areas as well. But if you go to the big city, there are a lot of people living in these big cities, and Washington, D.C. has crime. Now, if you were serious about addressing that issue, you don't just pull up a bunch of National Guard troops, pull these people who are accountants and teachers and real estate agents. That's what these people do. They have real lives, the National Guard. You pull them into Washington, D.C., and now they're patrolling the streets. Well, that's not setting any kind of system in motion to solve whatever issues Washington, D.C. is struggling with, in your opinion. You're not adding more police officers. No. When the National Guard tide rolls out, you're going to have the same streets and the same staffing of police departments that you had prior. This is performative. It's theater. And then you have these same guys, National Guard, to whom I've just referred, you have them spreading mulch, taking graffiti off of various fences. And you can say to me, well, Mark, isn't that important? I mean, isn't the beautification of Washington? Yes, it is. It's great. But you don't have the National Guard do it. Do you know how expensive it is to move in the National Guard? You have to house them. You have to feed them. There are all kinds of other ways in which they are supplemented because they are being pulled off of their other jobs. It's just, as usual, a half-baked scheme and a muscular flex. That's all this is. And now you want to do the same thing in Chicago. Well, now the latest ruling out of the courts may blunt that. It points to the fact that it was an illegal move to put the National Guard in Los Angeles. And similarly, it would be an illegal move to put the National Guard in Chicago. You can't just declare a state of emergency and move in the military. But that is the plan. I mean, clearly, they are road testing this plan, and we've talked about this for a long time. I mean, David Cay Johnston, I think, he's talking about this before Trump was even president. So,
this ruling that you mentioned came out of the California case filed by Governor Gavin Newsom against Trump, and the judge said the president violated the Posse Comitatus Act. This
exactly.
is U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer, who is issuing a preliminary injunction and says, yeah, can't do it. Congress spoke clearly in 1878 when it passed the Posse Comitatus Act, prohibiting the use of U.S. military to execute domestic law. He said there were indeed protests in Los Angeles, some individuals engaging in violence, yet there was no rebellion, nor was civilian law enforcement unable to respond to protests and enforce the law.
Tony, you can play the breaking news as it hit this morning on CNN to kind of announce to the world that it was judged an illegal act. Go ahead.
News: a federal judge just ruled that both President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth violated the law by using the military in the Los Angeles area over the summer. The Trump administration deployed thousands of federalized California National Guard members and Marines during an immigration crackdown in June. And this decision comes as the president weighs, as we were just talking about, whether to send National Guard members to other cities, as he has done in Washington, D.C. Joining us now is former federal prosecutor and Politico magazine senior writer Ankush Khardori. Ankush, thank you for coming here. So, what is the judge's reasoning here?
I'm also struck by the fact that Trump does things, and then he figures by the time the court case rolls out, I'll already have done what I need to do. We talk about this all the time on the show too. This is his dance to kill the clock. And so it is with the deportations. The deportations ruled illegal, remember? And then he's just like, what? I don't know. I can't get that guy back, you know. And finally, he did come back. Now they want to deport him again to Uganda, is it? Or to...
and you're talking about Kilmar Abrego
Garcia, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that this ruling will stop Trump from pushing the National Guard to other cities, or will he say it's a different reason this time? No, this time in Chicago, it's a big ICE enforcement supplemented by the National Guard. This time it's not for crime. This time it's, he'll come up with a different reason, and then a new court case will have to happen each time to see if he's violating this act. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the idea somehow that he'll keep at it is correct. I also think the idea that he'll go to his concierge Supreme Court. Remember, these are judgments that are all on appeal almost immediately because Trump wants to get it up to the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court, we can ask David Cay Johnston about this, but the Supreme Court is, I would think, not likely to reverse in this case the lower court. But they've been very generous to their best friend, Donald Trump. So we'll see. The idea somehow that you could, and I'll also mention, and this is part of a bigger conversation, and again, we'll touch on it with David Cay Johnston, but the idea that you could marshal other agencies, not the National Guard, not the military. I'm talking about ATF, DEA. I've mentioned this to you before. Those are younger agencies, okay? So they have fewer restrictions on them, fewer constitutional restrictions. So the freedom that Donald Trump has as a chief executive is far greater with agencies like the ATF and DEA than the freedom he has with the military. So he has many more constraints when it comes to deploying the military. That's why creating this quick strike force, a series of them, that's why that plays as a private militia for Donald Trump. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, Mark, it's Trump derangement syndrome. What is it? Well, explain to me why he needs these quick strike forces to knock down civil disturbances. Is America a country that has that many civil disturbances all the time? Have you heard about all these protests spilling over? It just, you're treating a wound that doesn't exist. You're anticipating all of this. That's why you need those forces. And I'd also suggest, and this is something else I've said on this show before, so apologies for those of you who've heard it before, but the J6 community all granted pardons after January 6th, prosecuted, convicted, serving time, etc. Some violent criminals. They were pardoned, and many of them are applying for jobs at the Justice Department, at ICE, and they, I believe, do make up and are the primordial ooze of the Trump militias that I'm talking about. When I talk about his own personal militias, they will be populated by people like the J6ers, also Proud Boys, the 3%ers, etc. These are all people all too anxious to get onto the streets and perpetrate violence. They're violent militias. And we'll touch on it with David Cay Johnston, but to me, that seems clear. That connection seems clear. And you've seen the stories about J6ers who've been picked up, right, Kim? A couple of these J6ers get picked up again for offenses. One of them just got 20 years for child pornography or, soliciting a minor. I believe I just saw that last week.
Yeah.
So,
or you've seen, them driving drunk or whatever, and not all of them, but some of them. And we hear the repeat offenders, and it's another indicator that these were not the best people. These were not the people flying the flag who loved America. They were, kind of, I don't know, bad guys to start with.
Yeah. I mean, this authoritarianism is, and the rise of fascism is always wrapped in the flag. It's always wrapped in patriotism. Look, I hate to, I'll just say Third Reich. Just look at it. The rise of the Third Reich was all about, German, super race, superior people, right? America, we're superior. Let's get back to the people that are really Americans because they're pure. Let's make America pure again. Let's make America great again that way. So we're beginning this supercharged effort to turn this country back to 1950. And we're doing it at the CDC. We're getting rid of all the vaccines. We're getting rid of all the scientists. I mean, it's crazy. It's like all the worst instincts are being indulged. And yes, this is true. I saw this, and I was shocked. I see Underdog. Yeah, first I'll do this. I believe Trump may be preparing for a potential coup using the National Guard and military on our city streets after losing the election. Of course, I think that's a plan. I mean, I think the election will be something that this guy isn't giving up power, and these people aren't giving up power. The GOP are not giving up power. They have a plan to hang on. But this is what I was referring to before. Joan Hollywood, thank you for a $10 super chat. And now Janine Pirro is allowing open carry in D.C. Think about that when the next transfer of power is supposed to happen. This is true. Janine Pirro, now the top law enforcement officer in the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. She is, and they've had a gun problem in D.C. You understand? I grew up there. They had a gun problem. They have a gun problem. So bad was the gun problem that they changed the name of the basketball team from the Washington Bullets to the Washington Wizards. So many people were being killed at gunpoint that they changed the name of the team. Now, Janine Pirro, the new crew's in town, they want to bring guns back. So they want to reduce, Kim can give you all the details, they want to reduce the punishment for any kind of possession of a firearm. But beyond that, these long guns, they want to make them totally legal. And I believe Joan's right. They want open carry in D.C. for the long guns, I believe. But you're going to have to give me some more on that. I only saw that she wants to loosen gun restrictions dramatically in Washington, D.C., a place that struggled with gun violence. It's really wrong. We're going to talk about Trump's health with David Cay Johnston in the next hour. There's certainly been strong efforts to knock down rumors about his struggling health. Over the weekend, something pretty exciting was announced. Don't know if you caught it. Donald Trump has announced that the Presidential Medal of Freedom shall be bestowed upon Rudy Giuliani, everyone. Rudy Giuliani.
What?
Yes, Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York. They still call him Mr. Mayor, Kim. Once you're mayor, they still call you mayor.
Well, he's America's mayor, right?
Yeah, that's it. He's been dining out on being America's mayor for quite some time. Trump announcing that he will award Rudy Giuliani the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. This happened 2 days after Rudy Giuliani was injured in a car accident. More on that in a moment. Giuliani's head of security saying that the former mayor sustained injuries that included a spinal fracture. He was struck from behind at high speed while riding as a passenger in a vehicle on a highway in New Hampshire. Now, first of all, I have the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Here's a question for everybody. The Presidential Medal of Freedom. Notable recipients: Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Steven Spielberg, Jane Goodall. Okay. How many people have received the Presidential Medal of Freedom? How many Americans or how many people have received that Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor to be bestowed upon someone in this country from the president? 11,780, says Dave. No. 11,780, says Trevor. No.
Maybe 125.
125, says Kim. The Presidential Medal of Freedom, latest recipient is Rudy Giuliani. How many people have received the Presidential Medal of Freedom? The answer: between 1963 and 2025, 670 people have received it. Yeah.
Who did Trump last give it to? Was it Rush Limbaugh?
Rush Limbaugh did get it. That's exactly right.
Can that be stripped posthumously?
I don't believe so. You could. I'm sure President Trump is looking into it. I want to take him away. I want to take him away from everybody that Crooked Joe gave him to.
Didn't I think Barack Obama gave one to Joe Biden, right?
That he got some kind of probably right. Yeah. I mean, Jose Andres got it. Bono got it. This is all under Biden. Michael J. Fox, Tim Gill. So you can see these are, even these are advocates. I mean, you say Michael J. Fox, isn't he an actor? He was an advocate for Parkinson's disease, this kind of thing. And so, again, I think they play fast and loose. There are usually a lot of high-profile names. Massie got it. Lionel Messi, the most decorated player in the history of professional soccer, is noted here. He has it. Ralph Lauren.
Lauren, what did he do?
Yeah, they see that's what I mean. It kind of does get your attention. Well, he, of course, redefined the fashion industry, but it's suggested because of that work, influenced culture, business, and philanthropy. And he's done the latter in the fight against cancer. And, again, I don't know, but there's a pretty wide berth that the Presidential Medal of Freedom recipients have. This, I'd say, has never been wider than it is under Donald Trump. So, yeah. But Rudy Giuliani gets it. Now, more about his car accident. It was the oddest announcement of a car accident that I'd ever read. You can take us through it. There was a post, kind of I think he posted on X, or his people did, to say less about the accident and more about where Rudy Giuliani was. The statement was that he had been involved helping an alleged victim of domestic violence who flagged him down on the road. Isn't that right, Kim?
Yeah, he supposedly was the Good Samaritan in this case, stopped to help this victim of domestic violence, and then was rear-ended He was in the back passenger seat. So I don't know. The police do say, yes, that there was a domestic violence call that police were investigating. So I don't know. But in this accident, he fractures his neck and has lots of scrapes and cuts. So, I mean, yeah.
It's a real accident. I mean, I'm going to confess this to you, meaning all of, you who join us. And tell me, some of you didn't have the same thought when you heard Giuliani had been in an accident, a traffic wreck. What did you think? Did you think like I did? Oh, DUI.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I would have bet so much on DUI. So I think for that reason, they want to say he was riding in the passenger seat and he was flagged down by a victim of domestic violence. I mean, the narrative here is, as a superhero, Rudy Giuliani was first dealing with the victim of domestic violence. While he waited there and picked her up and took her along with him in his superhero vehicle, he was hit from behind. America's mayor getting contusions, multiple lacerations, and injuries to his left arm and lower leg. He is 81 years old, but hopefully he makes it through and is able to maintain a full recovery, and then he can get his Presidential Medal of Freedom.
There you go.
Yeah. He's 81. Calvin says, how old is Rudy? Driving a car? He's too old. It's funny.
No, he has a driver.
He has a driver, yeah.
Yeah.
I also say that try to take away the keys from somebody who's 81. Not always. Depend. There are a lot of different 81s. There's an 81 who can drive, and there's the 81 who could never drive, from 61 to 81 too,
and then there's the 81 who can't drive but wants to drive.
There is that. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com is where I get this coffee, and it's the most delicious coffee on earth, and I'm not just saying that.
It's an interesting mug you have today. It's not a mug.
This is the mug I got in Alaska, and this is an octopus. It's it was done by hand, I guess,
Cute.
Yeah, it is cute. Thank you. It's become sort of a favorite of ours, and then Courtney and I, we fight over who gets that mug. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Thank you. Tony had it up there for a minute. The one thing I would say to you is check it out. I mean, literally, I drank this coffee before they were on the show. Okay. I love this coffee. And I'm a coffee hound. I have 3 different burr grinders, and I have a huge, like the Ferrari of espresso machines. I mean, I'm really into this too much. Okay. Everybody needs something. And this is my thing. So when I say this is the best coffee I've ever tasted, you at least should try it. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. You find the tasting profiles under all of the different blends and under all of the different beans. So they'll tell you, they have this new Clarity blend that I'm crazy for. But you can decide, do I like a richer blend? All of these tasting profiles are well described, all there on the website. And they have teas, I mean, wonderful teas, loose leaf teas, bag teas.
Good.
This is a boutique business. They really do great customer service, and tremendous care is taken in all of the products you see on the website. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. But the best part is you get 10% off for being a viewer or listener or just coming through this show. Mark T is what you use as a discount code. Mark T at checkout for 10% off, and share that with the family and friends. They can use that as well. If they're friends of yours, they are friends of ours. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I wanted to the turmeric chai tea is great. Here's the announcement from the White House. Let's take a little bit live. Go ahead, Tony.
Congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, and probably much more than that, and hundreds of billions of dollars of investment, and that's billions, because it can't be millions, it's billions and billions of dollars. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it. I want to thank Secretary Pete Hegseth. He's doing a fantastic job. And Secretary of the Air Force, Troy Mink. Troy, thank you very much. Great job you're doing, Troy. This is such a big deal. This is one that everybody wanted to know. What are you doing? I also want to thank Senators Katie Britt, and I want to give my condolences. Her grandmother just passed away. She was 100, right?
100, and she loves you, Mr. President.
Well, and she was very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Very, very proud of you. So thank you, Katie.
Wonderful woman.
She must have been. To produce you indirectly, I can tell you she had to be. Tommy Tuberville, who's a great coach, and I won't say anything about what happened with Alabama football this weekend.
Let's leave that out.
But you're not used to that, right? You're not used to that. But Tommy, Auburn won, is right. They did. So you're happy. Tommy's been a great senator, as you know, and a fantastic guy all around. He was also a tremendous coach. House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Thank you, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike, thank you very much. Doing great, Mike. Representatives Barry Moore, all great friends, Robert Adderholt.
I could listen to this all day, but I am afraid we have to move along. That is the latest. It's very exciting for those of you watching the Space Command headquarter locations, and you have to move them in your big situation rooms at home. You can move the Space Command to the headquarters in Alabama now. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
by the way, he looked okay to me. I know. I'm sure he has good hours and bad, but you know, he is someone who is all about it. He's all about the announcement. There's nothing that makes him get the bounce in his step more than knowing that national TV cameras are there, and he can just blither on and read a little bit from a script and then ad-lib for a while and thank some people and tell them how a great job they're doing, all of that. So now we all know that he's still alive and well, says Sandy. I know. A nation can breathe a collective sigh of relief. Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
All right.
What was it? The whole rumor over the weekend that inspired memes, and the gossip mill was running high that Trump was not well or not alive, and then JD Vance had given this interview that said, he's okay, but if anything should happen, I'm prepared to step in. And all of a sudden people were like, what's going on with Trump? And then the bruises on the hands and the cankles and the wandering down the red carpet, and people were freaking out.
Well, yeah, you like most conspiracy theories, you put together a few fragments, and before you know it, you have a narrative. The story was he hadn't been seen publicly in 6 days, was the story anyway. He did an interview. He did a sit-down interview on Friday, I think, with the Daily Caller. It was a crazy interview, by the way. I read through it. The Daily Caller and the right wing. It's some, I don't know, I was going to say kid, but I don't know. But, young person can also do a good interview, so I don't mean to be too disparaging just because the person might have been younger. I don't know the age of this woman who did the interview, but it was these crazy, like, softball questions. It was just ridiculous. But he did do the interview. That was on Friday. Then he went to his golf course, and there were pictures. I think one of them's on the thumbnail, the front page of our show. So he was waving to crowds, and he was able to, in a sense, prove that he's still alive, right? Mm-hmm. Playing golf. But the rumor mill with the bruises on his hand and the cankles, there it is. Who? Me? Dying? Ha, ha, ha. There is the bruise on his right hand. Now, that could be a few things, from what I understand. It could be blood thinners. You bruise very easily when you're on blood thinners. It was suggested that it's some kind of IV that's used, repeatedly in an area, and it tends to bruise. I don't know. Oh, a body double. Very, very good, Santi. I love that. Yeah. I'm just realizing now you're right. So you're saying...
You just don't get it, do you?
I don't.
You don't?
I guess I don't get it. Yeah, you're saying that the announcement today, as we've just seen, that's actually a body double. A guy doing an impression of Trump. It's really good.
Well, I guess they put out these pictures of Trump leaving with his grandkids to play golf, and the people on the internet said those pictures are from a year ago. More evidence that there's some kind of conspiracy that he's not okay.
Yeah, by the way, that's a fair way to fuel a conspiracy, right? You're going to knock down, it's specifically, these photos are specifically designed to show you that he's alive and well, and you post 2-year-old photos. I mean, that to me does suggest that you're feeding the conspiracy. But, stem cell therapy? Caption should be, I'm melting, says teacher Lori. Somebody else says, stem cell therapy, double two-mo. Yeah. Well, it's a cover-up, Jeanette says. Repeat 3 times, a cover-up, a cover-up, a cover-up. Yeah. Well, that there's something being covered up, I have no doubt. Just like the Biden people were covering up Joe Biden's situation. I told you quite clearly, I'll take Joe Biden on a hospital gurney before I take Donald Trump and his band of incompetent, craven, brutal henchmen. I mean, so I get it. Biden wasn't on, whatever. He wasn't putting troops on the streets. He wasn't dismantling all of government, firing everybody, messing with everything from Social Security to the IRS. He wasn't rounding up people who are earnestly working and supporting the economy at car washes, at restaurants, at high school graduations, in agricultural fields. He wasn't doing any of that. So you're saying Biden seemed old, infirm? Yeah, I get it. He was old and infirm. Yeah. But
he has that chronic vein insufficiency, right? So he has circulatory issues, which would make sense that you would be on some type of blood thinner if you have a circulatory issue.
Very good. So I think you're right, Kim. I mean, I think you're right. And though the bruising really does occur super easily if you're on those blood thinners. Tony?
Someone asked him right now at the interview about his death over the weekend, if you want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, please. Let's hear that. Okay, thank you. Here you.
Something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him.
Wow.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly the rumors are just that, rumors. On to the next rumor. But they like to feed the rumors. Here's another one starting. What's that lump on his face? Asks Sports.
I didn't notice a lump on his face.
Neither did I. What is that? Tony, you mean the lump in, like, under his right eye? Yeah, also, I see it. Yeah. I don't know. Look, when you get to be 70, what is he, 78, 79? It's,
He's not 80 yet? I thought he was 80. No?
No. Well, if there was only a way that we could possibly know exactly how old he is.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see how old he is.
Biden, always Biden, says Karen Cooper. Exactly. There it is. He's 79. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Rudy Giuliani, our friend and a great patriot, and I'm giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the greatest patriot, myself. That's right. It's never been done before, and this president is giving himself the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
There's never been anything like this.
I'm going to do it at the newly named Trump Kennedy Center. Yes.
There's never been anything like this.
I did want to mention before David Cay Johnston gets here, the fact that I'd mentioned earlier in the show the January 6th rioters, all of whom were pardoned with a sweeping pardon, as you know, that Donald Trump issued. The dangers associated with that pardon are more than just what we've pointed out on the show before, that you're allowing violent militant criminals back out without having paid any price for it. The other thing you're doing is you're populating, in essence, this private militia that Donald Trump will have. Now, it'll be in the form of ICE or some special task force, or what do they call them? Quick strike forces. Mm-hmm. It'll be in that form. Remember, he's marshaling those quick strike forces now. I think they'll largely be made up of people like the J6ers who were pardoned, and also the, I think the Proud Boys and a lot of these other existing violent militia groups. So here's the other thing that's happening. The J6 now pardoned violent marauders are suing the government. Yeah, they've been pardoned, and now they want money for having been wrongly prosecuted.
That's rich.
One of the rioters wants to create a panel that would decide on financial damages for what the rioters believe were unfair prosecutions. And here is why that's not absurd. Because the president of the United States, the current president, Donald Trump, said they were unfair prosecutions. You have the chief executive on the record saying these J6 prosecutions were wrong. These were great patriots. He played them singing the national anthem at his various campaign events. Even though the president has given the rioters their freedom and is doing things to satisfy their desire for retribution, they want more, they want money. And this Mark McCloskey, who's the lawyer for one of these J6 rioters, said that he has met with top officials at the Justice Department and pitched them on a plan to create a special panel that would dole out financial damages. These will be monies that you and I feed into the federal coffers. And much like the arrangement made by the special master to award money to the victims of the September 11th terrorist attacks, these people will receive monies for the damages to be done. He wants the panel to be overseen by Jeanine Pirro. We'll see where this all shakes out, but this is the insult on top of insults. It's an obscenity. And it's incredible that these people have the BALLSs to pull this crap and even suggest this thing. You sent a link to David Cay Johnston.
I did, and I just sent another one.
Great. Just want to make sure that we don't miss him.
Mm-hmm.
I have quick news out of the CDC, and then
The Mark Thompson Show.
I have quick news out of the CDC, then to David Cay Johnston. The agency in turmoil, of course. Last week, Dr. Susan Monterez, the CDC director, she was terminated. She wouldn't leave. She wouldn't approve the decisions made by RFK Jr., and that's why he said she must leave. He was getting rid of these, well, it was everybody on the vaccine board who was going to push back at all on this anti-vax community that has now completely taken over, as I understand it. There was a there was an op-ed piece in the New York Times. Yeah, 9 former officials serving as directors or acting directors of the agency. They all warned that the situation facing the CDC is, quote, unprecedented. We ran the CDC, is the op-ed piece. Kennedy is endangering every American's health. What Kennedy has done to the CDC and to our nation's public health system over the past several months, this is from that piece, culminating in his decision to fire Dr. Susan Monterez as CDC director days ago, is unlike anything we have ever seen at the agency and unlike anything our country has ever experienced. And these are all people with great experience as public servants at the CDC. So this is at the same time that Kennedy got rid of thousands of federal workers from HHS, the agency that he's running. And also playing down the role of vaccines in fighting the measles outbreak, which is ongoing. I mean, the measles numbers are higher than they've been in decades.
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing travesty. And as they said in the piece, this is unacceptable and it should alarm every American regardless of political leanings. But sadly, it's a ship that sailed. In fact, Kennedy brought in Trump to ultimately fire the CDC chair who'd been confirmed. So Monterez was fired as CDC director by Trump. I'm quite concerned about, and we've talked about it at some length and will continue to, with doctors who've come into the show, many of them very involved in mRNA technology, which is, of course, was crucial in developing a COVID vaccine. Has developed, that same technology has developed any number of vaccines associated with any number of diseases. But as we talk about that, one has to keep in mind that what's happening is a dismantling of a major institution that is upholding American health and health standards. And that's there at HHS under RFK Jr. So that's the latest from there, but I wanted to make sure that we at least touched on it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It happened last week in a blizzard of other stuff that was happening. I have news of immigration. There were, again, judges' ruling against the Trump administration and the deportation of minors, for example. Also, the statistics on who's disappearing from the U.S. labor force under Trump. 1.2 million immigrants erased from the U.S. labor force under Trump. This is preliminary data. And a labor economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas saying immigrants normally contribute at least 50% of job growth in the U.S. All of that is constricting now. All of these immigrants now who work in the agricultural fields, who work in all of those different places that we refer to all the time, everything from the car wash. I don't know if you saw the news, but the car wash right down the street from me, then there's another car wash about 2.5 miles away. They're closed because they raided them last week. It happened, I think, on Thursday of last week. ICE agents go in with the typical brutality. I mean, these ICE agents are glorified nightclub bouncers. The way they go in and they take some poor guy who's wiping down a car with a rag and they throw him to the pavement. Gutless. Why don't you go after violent criminals that way? Why don't you go into the MS-13 infested crack houses that I hear about? Why don't you go in and try that there with your masks and your assault weapons and your military cosplay? You grab these people, you don't even speak Spanish. They've waived completely the requirement for bilingual or at least some Spanish abilities for ICE. They've also waived, as you know, the physical requirement. They've waived the age requirement. They keep waiving and lowering these requirements so that anybody can sign up. Plus, they've added all of these inducements, right? $50,000 signing bonus if you come from another area of law enforcement. So these nightclub bouncers who just can't wait to throw people to the pavement are throwing people to the pavement and handcuffing them with those zip ties as they scream, "Let me show you my papers. I'm here legally. Let me get my wallet." Anyway, these people are being deported in numbers that are, or detained, to be pure about it, I should say, in numbers that are so immense that it is affecting the U.S. labor force. More than 1.2 million of immigrants disappeared from the labor force from January through the end of July. That includes people who are in the country illegally as well as legal residents. Immigrants make up almost 20% of the U.S. workforce, and that data shows 45% of workers in farming, fishing, and forestry. 45% are immigrants. About 30% of all construction workers are immigrants, and 24% of all service workers are immigrants. So this is seen as the first decline in the overall immigrant population after the number of people in the U.S. illegally reached an all-time high of 14 million in 2023, as is noted here. So how much of this is because of voluntary deportation, self-deporting as they call it? It's created a net negative migration in America. So this is a new period. But again, Trump campaigned on the promise to deport millions of immigrants working in the U.S. illegally, and he is following through. And I would say one other thing. Then I want to check on David Cay Johnston. I would say that, a lot of his people are okay with this. I know we find it abhorrent, but on some level, the MAGA core is okay with this. I'd put it adjacent to and maybe connected with the cultural issues that win the day. What's happening to America, the wokeness, DEI, the immigrants, it's the destruction of the America that I want. And so I would say that even as we see this as having this ruthlessness to it, this brutality to it, there's something about it that probably lands cleanly with MAGA Nation. It troubles me to say it, but I think it really could be true. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're saying, well, this will do it, I mean, nobody's going to be good for this. 1.2 million immigrants leaving. I mean, a bunch of them may be illegal, but many of them are just worried about them being next up. So they leave even though they have legal status. I'm not good with that. That's not what I voted for. I'm saying that a lot of them did vote for that. I mean, it was just part of the package, and they're not that offended by it. David Cay Johnston has a doctor's appointment that conflicts. Now, see, this is a major announcement. Moving the Space Force headquarters from Colorado to Alabama, that's not a major announcement, President Trump. That's not, okay? That's just you grabbing some FaceTime with Pete Hegseth on your left and your other band of incompetent losers who are there because they were on Fox News Channel surrounding you. But that's not a major announcement. David Cay Johnston moving from today to tomorrow, that's a major announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the latest?
Yeah, he wants to come on tomorrow, so I think that's okay.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I want to apologize to the many people who were expecting to hear David Cay Johnston right now.
Hey, you know what? Life happens, right?
I am sorry that David Cay Johnston has a conflict, and he will be on tomorrow. So I am, I guess.
What?
I know. I'm very, very sorry. I just
they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Yeah, they do, Casey. It's tough. But I do look forward to seeing David tomorrow.
And I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week.
Maybe David will bring the pictures tomorrow. Kim Jong-un in Beijing, arriving for the military parade alongside Putin and Xi. How about that? What that is... Dictators on parade. You've waited for it. It's back for season 2. Kim Jong-un arriving in Beijing to attend a military parade with his Chinese and Russian counterparts. FOMO must be hitting the White House. How was I left out of this dictator bro-down? Asks Donald Trump. I want to see a manager, said Donald Trump. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arriving in Beijing by train on Tuesday to attend a military parade with his Chinese and Russian counterparts. This is to demonstrate potentially three-way unity against anybody. Who are they unified against? If you guessed United States. Yeah, you give yourself points. Kim and Russian President Vladimir Putin are among the 26 world leaders who will join President Xi Jinping at Wednesday's massive military parade in Beijing that commemorates the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and China's fight against Japan's wartime aggressions. It's set to be Kim's first time attending a major multilateral event during his 14-year rule, and the first time Kim, Xi, and Putin, all key rivals, of course, of the U.S., have gathered at the same venue. It's nice that Donald Trump is bringing people together, not in the way he thought, but in the way that all of us could and did predict. North Korea's official Korean Central News Agency said Kim was greeted at Beijing railway station by the senior Chinese officials. And Kim's delegation at the Beijing station includes his young daughter, who South Korean intelligence officials view as his likely heir. That's right, Kim. There could be a woman running North Korea, excuse me. That's not right. That's a major difference.
Whichever Korea, yeah.
Yeah. But it is, as I mentioned, and if you missed it, the ridiculousness of the tariffs and the way in which Donald Trump has asserted the tariffs in an ultra-aggressive style and turned them on India, huge trading partner. And Modi and Trump had a bro down the last time Modi was around. Now, these withering tariffs on India, supposedly because India buys Russian oil. I don't buy it. I don't know what's going on there, but they have driven India closer to China. It was inevitable. Where did you think they were going to go? So this is just, again, a president who is informed by nothing and a knowledge of nothing. So the tariffs, the on-again, off-again quality of them, and also the manifestly chaotic way in which they are being applied, all of these things have real-world effects, and I think that's one of them in the case of India. And Brazil's the other one, right? Brazil also has a 50% import tax applied, and the reason for that has nothing to do with Brazil, except for the fact that his friend Bolsonaro is being prosecuted there. And Brazil is no stranger to authoritarian uprisings, but this is the first time they've actually tried an authoritarian dictator there in Brazil. He's sort of a Trumpian, right? Deny the results. He was wrapped up in a ton of illegalities, and Brazil has come back on him with the justice system there, and Trump wants no part of it. So you see how there's not an American foreign policy here. There's not even an American economic policy at play. You have coherence only around what Donald Trump wants. That's deeply troubling. So, but that's the state of things. The last thing I'll say about tariffs, and I want to go to Kim's news, is that they were, as noted just a few minutes ago, ruled illegal. So that's going to be definitely appealed to the Supreme Court, and I'm sure Donald Trump feels that his concierge court is going to come through for him. But we talked about this from the very beginning. This could be incredibly problematic because if the tariffs are ruled illegal, then the money collected, those taxes have to be returned on some level, and that's going to be its own mess. And Trump has created a mess on top of a mess. And I don't leave Congress blameless either. You, the GOP, in control of both houses, you let Trump do this on his own. And so you now are going to be spending the American people's money to return much of this money to where it came, from where it came. And you're also going to be dealing with the lawsuits. There are going to be a lot of them about this affected my business. I had to close my business down because of these tariffs. There are real damages that people are going to show in court. And who's going to write those checks? You and me. Because we have Donald Trump and, Tariff Boy wants to just recklessly impose these tariffs, and Congress is letting him do it. So don't lose sight of this. This is going to happen. If the SCOTUS decision doesn't go Trump's way, then it will be ruled illegal, these tariffs, that he imposed them illegally, that he couldn't declare that emergency where there was no emergency that met the threshold for that declaration. And as a result, all those monies are now going to be contested. And the real damage done by those tariffs, literally, businesses were completely closed down because of them. Those will be played out in court, and many of those settlements will be paid by the American taxpayer. So, Kim's news upcoming. I'm kind of glad we have time for your news. I've got Powerball news as well.
I'll put it in there. We can talk about it together.
I like it. Put it in there, Kim.
Yeah, it's all
Put it in. All right. Kim's news, and we continue. Please hit the like button. It helps us in the YouTube universe, and thanks for being here.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee and Tea.com. President Trump is announcing U.S. Space Command is moving to Huntsville, Alabama. The move reversing former President Biden's decision to keep the headquarters in Colorado. Trump said part of his reasoning behind the move is because Colorado has mail-in voting, which he called crooked.
Oh my God. Even the explanation has nothing to do with the actual material. Oh my God.
Can't make it up. Space Command oversees military space operations and the defense of satellites. Colorado's Democratic Attorney General says he will be challenging Trump's decision in court. A federal judge says President Trump illegally deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles. In his ruling, the Bill Clinton-appointed judge, Breyer, said President Trump violated a 19th century law forbidding the use of soldiers for civilian enforcement activities. The judge's ruling bars the use of troops in California to execute laws. However, the ruling is paused pending further legal action, just as Trump considers sending troops to other cities to fight crime. Which leads me to President Trump says he will be offering federal intervention in Chicago. Trump was asked about the possibility of the National Guard going to Chicago to fight crime, and he responded, "We're going in." He added,
Tony, you have that here?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe.
Yeah, I've heard that flowers are springing up everywhere in D.C., and you can eat all the flowers. Everything's amazing there. And by the way, if you let those flowers bloom, there's actually money coming out of them for all of the D.C. residents. It's terrific. He really has created an extraordinary nirvana there in Washington, D.C. I can't wait till he brings that to the people of Chicago. I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Tony, for throwing that video in.
Yeah, Tony, you were dreamy.
You are dreaming.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
Victims of late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are meeting with a bipartisan group of House members today. House Oversight Chairman James Comer says the survivors are also set for a press event tomorrow on Capitol Hill with Representatives Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Democrat Ro Khanna. The news comes as the first day of Congress is underway. Congress people are back from their summer recess, and they're taking up the Epstein issue yet again.
Yeah, this is what we said, that, you can forget about it for August while they're away, but when they come back, it's hello, Epstein.
Vladimir Putin says Russia has never been against Ukraine joining the European Union, but he says Ukraine joining NATO, well, now that's unacceptable. Ukraine began its bid to become a member of the EU after Russia's invasion in February of 2022. Putin's comments come as President Trump continues to try to get Ukraine and Russia to agree to some type of ceasefire.
Yeah, he's really working on that.
He's generally trying. Some Texas Republicans still upset over...
I want to get a ceasefire in Chicago first. Let me tell you something. Have you seen the statistics? It's horrible, Chicago. Forget about Ukraine. That's over there. Let's talk about what's happening in this country.
I don't do a Trump impression. I just talk.
Yeah.
I do
Pretty good,
like
though.
him as a mobster. If you were
Yeah.
a mobster.
Some Texas Republicans are still upset over a quorum break by Democrats, which delayed the passage of congressional redistricting. Today, the state house in Texas took up legislation that would punish lawmakers who left the Capitol in protest. The bill would ban lawmakers from fundraising during a quorum break. It would also prohibit donors from giving them cash. During this year's protest, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke lent financial support to his fellow Democrats. State Attorney General Ken Paxton tried to sue, but was repeatedly blocked. So now they're trying to legislate it. Speaking of Texas, there is a man being accused of murder after allegedly shooting and killing an 11-year-old boy who was doorbell ditching in Houston. Leon Gonzalo Jr. was arrested and charged this morning with a count of murder. Police responded to the reported shooting in an East Houston neighborhood on Saturday night. Investigators say someone inside the house came out, shot the boy in the back as he ran away, playing the doorbell ditch.
Jeez.
President Trump says he plans to display a portrait highlighting former President Biden's use of auto pen. The president's announcement came during an interview where he showed off new portraits for his Rose Garden presidential wall of fame. Trump shared that the administration will put up a picture of the auto pen and noted the move will be very controversial.
I'm looking forward to issuing my executive order on the portraits that will be here. These are very distinguished people. And of course, one of them is in the center there. You can see it, the auto pen. Biden, who was out of it for 4 years, worst thing to ever happen to this country, and his auto pen will be memorialized. At the same time, I was up late last night trying to pick out the right carpet for the new ballroom. The Trump ballroom will be the most magnificent ballroom. And by the way, it will be called the Trump Ballroom. And I'm pushing legislation through now that will make sure that that name can never be changed. The auto pen is there in the middle. Can you see it, Tony? Can you get a little bit bigger?
Can you zoom in on the pen?
That is hilarious. Now, we don't know that that's what it's going to be, but it's very funny. I mean, he's a troll. Trump's a troll. I wouldn't be surprised if it does look like that. Yeah.
Okay. The public is soon not going to be able to listen in on Oakland police scanner calls. Starting tomorrow, all police radio traffic in Oakland, California will be encrypted, cutting off public access to real-time dispatch calls. Police officials say the move to encryption is needed for a myriad of safety reasons, but some lawmakers and civil rights advocates are furious, saying these efforts are a blow to transparency. The world's wealthy are already securing their luxury accommodations for the Los Angeles Olympics. Mark doesn't have to do that. He's got rent out some rooms over there. The Summer Games are still 3 years away, but the rich are already making their reservations. Frank Stark is founder of the ultra plush vacation rental company Lux JB. He tells the LA Times there are only so many mega mansions available. He manages 14 of them, and he's already booked 3. He says the renters will be in LA most of that year, not just the 2 weeks of the Olympics. They're long-term renters now, Most luxurious of his rental goes for $300,000 a month. The least expensive, $25,000 a month. So,
wow,
got to get your name in for the mega mansion right now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fancy.
I would consider. I mean, everyone has their price. I'd consider giving up my place for a couple months for some of the numbers that you've thrown out, Kim.
Yeah. Why not rent it out? You can just do the show from up here in Petaluma.
Yeah. Just,
come on up.
Sure.
Uber is teaming up with Best Buy. Now, Mark, after you have a couple gummies and you're deep in the throes of gaming, you really want that fresh new game. You don't have to get off the couch and go get it. No, the rideshare company Uber is announcing this partnership, which aims to deliver things like headphones, gaming gear, small appliances. The service will be offered via Uber Eats, with more than 800 stores participating. It is the latest collaboration for Best Buy, as the retailer is also teaming up with DoorDash and Instacart in the last few years as well. So, you think, God, I'd really like to play the latest Call of Duty. Done. Just call Uber. You've got it.
Well, who's going to deliver it? I mean, they're getting rid of all of the people who were, in the country in any kind of way that, generally populated by, you've seen them. They've gone after these Uber and DoorDash drivers. It's crazy. They literally will summon a DoorDash driver, and then when he arrives or she arrives, they'll arrest him. This is the latest thing for ICE. I mean, that's a real long way to make it to 1 million or whatever it is you're going to do that over and over and over again, where you thugs just keep wrestling these people to the ground and throwing them in a van, one Uber Eats driver at a time. Anyway, I digress.
This is going to come as
Mark, I tried to tell you a good story about how you can get stuff delivered, and you turned it into an immigration thing. Poor Kim.
This next story, this one's going to really surprise you. American pessimism is growing as a majority of people believe the American dream is no longer true.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right. And I am, when it comes to pessimism, I am your king. That's right.
I agree
am your king. Right.
Polling from the Wall Street Journal,
right,
at Nork Research Center found
they are kissing my ass.
That's right. All you pessimists, you're welcome here. The club is just beginning. Go ahead. The Wall Street Journal what?
The Wall Street Journal Nork Research Center, that's who did the poll. They found that when asked about the state of the economy, 45% of respondents said it will get worse over the next year. 29% thought it'll stay about the same. According to the survey, 69% of respondents are abandoning the so-called American dream, with less than a quarter of people saying they were very confident they could buy a home if they wanted to.
Yeah,
that's pure speculation.
I mean, the numbers are damning because the situation looks pretty grim.
Yeah. And lastly, the only way you will be able to afford to buy a home is if you win the Powerball jackpot. It is jumping the jackpot to $1.3 billion. The last jackpot winner was May 31st, making Wednesday night's drawing one of the biggest in game history.
Wow.
There's never been anything like this.
Yeah.
If you win, which is really unlikely, but you could elect to receive annuity payments that increase by 5% annually over 30 years, or you could take a one-time lump sum of $589 million before taxes. So that's before taxes, okay?
Yeah.
The odds of winning, 1 in 292 million. So it's not happening, but yet it could happen. It's a moment where we can dare to dream.
Yeah,
that's not fake. That's real.
That's real money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough plan. I would say you should get a plan B. Yeah, that would be my recommendation to everybody.
It's really hard to drive by that lottery sign though that says 1.3 billion and not do a double take. Like what? 1.3 billion.
I mean, that's way more money than you'd need to buy any. You could buy probably 20 different politicians for that kind of money. You know what I mean? And you could throw in a Supreme Court justice on there. Yeah, you could get your own. Now you're really playing.
I come from regular stock.
You're playing with the real crew that buys politicians and justice in this country.
It's not enough for a presidency, though, is it? How much did Elon pay?
Well, Elon didn't even put in $1 billion. He put in 270 million, I want to say it was.
That's cheap.
Yeah, so you could do that and still have money left over. That's mad culty Oprah money, says True Talk.
That's exactly right.
I forgot Oprah. Gosh, she is why isn't Oprah bigger? Where is Oprah now? She's kind of what's happening?
At the ranch in Santa Barbara. She's laying low.
I see.
Who is having that conversation?
Yeah, right.
This report, sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, Pam Posk has sent the show $50. $50.
Wow.
And
I didn't see that. Pam Posk.
Yeah, Pam Posk. She says having Clarity coffee, hanging with hubby and 2 doggies, wondering how this can happen in America.
Yeah. Well, I love the $50
Mhm.
super chat. We do need your support financially, sadly. But I love that you're hanging with the hubby and the 2 doggies. And I love that you're having Clarity coffee, which is it's my favorite blend right now. And cheers to all of you who are enjoying it with me. I encourage you to try whatever taste profile tickles your fancy. It's at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, 10% at checkout, and you get, Mark T at checkout for 10% off, or 10% off at checkout if you use the discount code Mark T. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Coffees, teas, and other dreamy things. Check it out.
I just sent someone a package of vanilla tea over the weekend. So good. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this?
We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Stay at home and get baked.
Right on, everybody. Great to have you here. It is a Tuesday, and if you joined late, I want to just update you on something. David Cay Johnston, the Pulitzer Prize winner, will join us tomorrow. It's a special week that David joins on a Wednesday and not a Tuesday. So we are awaiting that with you tomorrow. But now we check in with somebody who was the longtime tech writer for USA Today. Now he has a show on YouTube where he travels the country, the world, offering tips using technology and just his cleverness to give you the best photos. It's called Photo Walks TV. He is called Jefferson Graham. Hi, Jefferson.
Hi, Mark.
I love, where are you today?
I'm in Long Beach, California.
Wow. I hear it's lovely this time of year.
It's a little warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little warm, but it's very nice. It was beautiful this morning at 6 a.m.
Yes, the morning is the time now that you really want to get the Southern California day. A little bit of a heat wave going on there now. But let me ask you what's happening tech-wise. You know, you always give us a window on technology. It is the fall. Isn't there a new iPhone coming out and a new bunch of other stuff coming out? You've got it?
No. But it's coming out next Tuesday. It's being introduced next Tuesday in Cupertino, California. Apple will introduce expected four new iPhones. I know someone who's going to be there at the event. That would be me. I'll be covering it. And the big news that I don't think anybody's going to really care about, but they're supposedly going to have a really ultra thin new iPhone.
I see.
I just don't know that that's going to get people excited.
And how many hundreds of dollars more will be that ultra thin?
We don't know. We don't know. We won't know anything until next Tuesday at 10 o'clock Pacific time.
Why do you say, when you say there are going to be 4 different iPhones debuted, what does that mean? Different size?
iPhone 17.
Okay.
iPhone 17 Air.
I see.
iPhone 17 Pro. iPhone 17 Pro Max. That has been the standard that they've been doing the last few years. And the ultra thin for the new Air. But as far as pricing, let's find out how the tariffs are going to affect Apple. We've been speculating on it all year. I say at least $100 more, if not more. But we don't know. Now, Google introduced just 2 weeks ago some new phones, and their new phone was $100 more at the top of the line.
So it's likely to be something in that area because that, I guess they all kind of release with a view toward each other. Yeah.
And they don't even have to justify it. I got an email from Frontier Communications, who is my internet provider. And they said, we strive to give you the best service, so we've decided to up the rate by $10 a month. Nothing about what we're giving you, nothing extra, just we're going to charge you another $128 a year.
Well, this is kind of what I get to when I talk about the fact that, there's this effort underway to kneecap a lot of government service, excuse me, and then turn it over to private industry. And so, it's the disabling of one thing and then saying that that's crappy, so you need to turn it over to private industry. And I remind people that this is the stuff that you just talked about that private industry does. They just raise fees on you without any kind of warning, without any kind of justification. You can't get any customer service. You get worse service than the government was providing, and it's more expensive, but it's privatized. So there's a winner, and you just described how that works. What else is happening?
I sent a reply to Frontier and said, what are you giving me? Well, I want to know. And it said, you cannot reply to this email. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I mean, they always talk about, private industry, you'll be able to, the service, the competition, it'll be better for the American consumer. Really?
Yeah.
When was the American consumer well served by private industry?
And every merger screws the consumer, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, they just
want to
less competition means worse for the consumer and the street.
Yeah. So the iPhone is the all-time best-selling consumer device. So it sells about 225 million units a year. So it is a big deal. And I think when Tim Cook went and kneeled before Trump in order to not have tariffs, we don't know what's going to happen until next week.
Is that the big news of the day, or is there other tech news, Jefferson Graham?
That's the big news that I've got. And there's also expected to be a new Apple Watch, maybe new Apple AirPods. Apple sucks up the market. This is the big thing. And a lot of people are going to be going up there for the event.
Well, I'm very excited that you are going as well, because I know that they didn't want you there because you're a truth teller and you somehow wangled your way in. I don't know how you did it. You haven't made the last few.
No, I was there last year too.
Aside from last year, you haven't really been there much.
I think I missed one or two. Google, though, doesn't invite me.
I knew one of them didn't invite.
Yeah, Google will not invite me, and they will not even send me a review phone.
Tony cannot get an invitation either. It's so weird that I think they're scared.
Thanks, Tony.
They're scared of truth tellers. That's what they're scared of. Jefferson?
Yeah.
So the major Apple product announcement, we're looking forward to it. You're covering it.
Yes.
You'll get in touch.
Can I thank you again for doing a cameo, being a celebrity presenter in the Walkie Awards?
Oh, yeah. Did I do it already, or were I supposed to?
Yeah, you did it 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really great.
Did I really? I don't recall doing it.
Yeah, we did it on the air.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'll tell you something. I had this illness. I've still got, whatever stuff. I can't remember anything.
The Walkie Awards came out on Sunday. For the 30 best travel places that I've been to.
Oh, yeah.
Answer the question that everybody always wants to know: best place. Best place.
What was the best place?
Nova Scotia.
Wow. Nova Scotia. And on what criteria went into that?
A friend of mine wrote a thing on Facebook and said, I don't understand why more people don't go here, because it's twice as good as New England for half of the price. So I said, let's go. And it was twice as good as New England at half the price, with amazing music and great food.
Wow.
And beautiful scenery. So it's easy to pick Paris.
I got to put it on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, I just came back from British Columbia, and that's really great too.
Well, I love British Columbia. Love it. Yeah, it's terrific. You have a pretty great life. Great life. Does your wife go with you on any of this stuff or not?
She came with me to British Columbia. She will not be coming to San Francisco, but she'll be coming to Santa Barbara, which is the next trip after.
Pretty terrific. Jeff, thank you. We adore you. You can find his work. There is I'm guessing that's British Columbia.
No, that's Kyoto, Japan. There's Mark T.
Oh, there's Kyoto, Japan. Wow. I don't know what's happening now. Oh, most underrated. I see. What was the most underrated? San Francisco, California?
Said it was San Francisco because it gets so much bad press. Yeah. And people forget about what a beautiful city it is.
Oh, thank you, Tony, for putting that up there. It is a gorgeous city. I love San Francisco. And it does get a lot of bad pub, but it is super beautiful and super special. And there's so many places around San Francisco, over the bridge, South Bay. north into Napa, the East Bay. So much great stuff in all these places. Yeah, wow.
I'm going to stay in Corte Madera when I'm there, which is in Marin.
Which is right over in Marin. So cool. All right, Jeff. You can find Jefferson Graham Photo Walks TV on YouTube. Thank you. Bye, Jeff. Bye-bye.
The Mark Thompson Show.
What a day. I know what you're saying. All of America's saying it. Sure, the Space Force has changed from Colorado to Alabama with its headquarters. Sure, they're deporting a bunch of people. Alligator Alcatraz down in Florida looks like it's being closed, but they're moving all those people to other places. They're setting up these concentration camps elsewhere. But what about the Epstein files, you're saying? Am I right? I know. I know you want your Epstein files. I will just tell you, with Congress back, as we said, the Epstein files will once again start to make the news cycle. And this is a GOP congressperson, Thomas Massie, filed a discharge petition today. It just happened. He wants to force the disclosure of the Justice Department's investigative files related to Jeffrey Epstein. He filed this petition that's going to allow the House to sidestep a lot of GOP efforts to quash this entire discussion that will have to follow the release of the Epstein files. And so you've got Ro Khanna, you've got a bipartisan effort to demand the release of these files. Ro Khanna is just a high-profile Democrat who's demanding them as well. So unless Ro Khanna is now an independent, I think he's a Democrat. In any case, the point is that there is going to be more pressure to release something. And so this White House will be challenged to serve something up to MAGA Nation and to the rest of the country that wants something. There's Massie. Thank you, Tony, for that picture. There is a pressure campaign from the White House, Massie's saying. They're coming down on those who are demanding the release of the Epstein files. But again, this is a discharge petition that Thomas Massie is filing. And he wants the release of the Epstein files. And look for this to now make the news cycle in ways it wasn't for August, because August, Congress is away. Now you have congressional receptivity. You know, they're okay with the idea of talking about Epstein, even though, as we've discussed here, the Epstein details are going to be damning to both Democrats and Republicans, and there is likely all kinds of underpinning of the Epstein files associated with investigative agencies and intelligence agencies worldwide, not only CIA, but Mossad, and who knows if there's British intelligence involved. It looks as though if you look at the way the Epstein files were handled by the British, it's a great way of providing your own litmus test as to what was likely in the files, independent of the horror which is associated with human trafficking. Meaning, the British intelligence agencies, when Prince Andrew, was that who it was, Kim? Who was involved with the, was it Prince Andrew, or who was the guy who was then?
It was Andrew. Yeah. Are you talking about who was involved with allegedly with Virginia Giuffre?
Exactly, yeah. Right. So the British intelligence community looked at that, right? They are asked by British royalty to look at that. The British intelligence community came down against Prince Andrew. And that's why Prince Andrew was ostracized by the Brits. They basically turned their back on him. The royalty did. They cut him off in every way. There he is on the left. There's Virginia in the middle and Ghislaine on the right. And so that should tell you something about what's involved here underpinning much of this. It has to be at very high levels so damning and so complex that the Brits just say, we want nothing to do with this anymore. No effort to defend him, no effort to provide for him in any way. They totally isolated him. It wasn't just the interaction with underage girls. So we'll find out more, but we're going to find them out, I think, the way we're finding out now, which is little bits and pieces. So, did you see this? Tulsi Gabbard living her best life as a Trump apologist and as an explainer and suck up to President Donald Trump.
They are kissing my ass.
She has a bit of a back and forth with CIA Director John Radcliffe. Yeah. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and again, try to say those words without choking, blindsiding CIA leaders last week when she disclosed the name of an undercover CIA officer on a list of people that she stripped of security clearances.
What?
Do you think she did it on purpose, or is she just extra stupid?
The move alarmed the agency's workforce, and it's the latest example of simmering tensions and cross signals between Gabbard and CIA Director John Radcliffe. The two have clashed previously over her decisions, including her decision earlier this month when Gabbard declassified a lightly redacted document related to Russian election interference. Two former government officials said that they looked at the situation and they think that Gabbard is under pressure to regain Donald Trump's confidence. So you see, she does this because she wants to be his favorite.
They are kissing my ass.
She fell out of favor with Trump and his aides earlier this year after she posted a video and delivered testimony about Iran's nuclear capabilities. Remember, she was saying, I don't think they're so close to developing a bomb. And then she got the memo. Oh, what I meant was today they're not, but tomorrow they could easily have the bomb. So again, Trump and Gabbard seem to not have any open tensions, but when Gabbard announced the security clearance removals last week, she said some of the 37 current and former officials were engaged in, quote, the politicization or weaponization of intelligence. And she said she was acting on the president's orders. When he had that huge session, the televised cabinet session in which they kind of went around the table and tried to top each other in speaking reverentially about Donald Trump, Tulsi, Trump said, is becoming a bigger and bigger star every day. So she thinks clearly that she's on the right track with many of these declassifications. One of the former government officials, though, saying that Gabbard appeared to be trying to show the president that she was exposing Democrats and political enemies, including some who are in the CIA. The security clearance removals, what we reported on them here last week, reflected a battle between Gabbard and Radcliffe, according to a former government official. Of course, she occupies a position that was created after September 11th, right? They wanted to have more coordination between CIA and other intelligence agencies. The idea was that had there been that coordination prior to September 11th, you might have been able to stop those planes from flying into the World Trade Center.
But how scary is it if you don't feel comfortable sharing information with the other agency because you don't know if the director is going to spill the beans to the world, then that information flow stops.
Exactly.
Because who's going to share it with her now? Like,
Well,
she's a blabbermouth that puts people's lives at risk.
It even extends to the president of the United States. David Cay Johnston would tell you that, he gave away sources and methods, Trump did, to the Russians. He did that in the first Trump administration. Remember, there was even talk within the intelligence community of not briefing Trump completely on certain things because he can't be trusted to keep a secret. He's like peacocking about it. And then, I don't know why they say that, when he jacks thousands of pages of documents, puts them in Mar-a-Lago's bathroom, ballroom, bedroom, closet, and then in some spots at his Bedminster club, completely insecure areas where all that stuff was dumped. But,
and remember, waves them around at Mar-a-Lago out of the cafe, waving. You can't see these, but I can see them.
This is how we were going to attack Iran. Could have attacked him if I wanted to. Anytime I want. I'm president.
But they're secret. You can't look.
So
we could try ignoring it, sir.
All right. I do have a special announcement of my own. Trump had one.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Trump had a special announcement today. He announced that the Space Force headquarters, which every American was worried about, the Space Force headquarters is fine, everyone. They are relocating it from Colorado,
where Biden wanted it. Dirty Joe, Sleepy Joe, auto-penned it to Colorado.
They've moved it to Huntsville, Alabama. So that was the big news. But I have big news. And my big news is to recognize many who contribute to our show and support our show on PayPal.
What?
Yes, I always talk about Patreon and the many who jump on board here with super chats and all the rest, but I wanted to quickly give them a shout out. And Tony adds these names to the scroll every month. Am I right, Tony? It's a thankless job.
Yes. It'll be
Tony
done tonight.
does it. He does it because he's being paid to do it. Yes. I'm sure he would do it anyway, is the point. But I don't want to road test that, so we actually pay him. Eleanor Mirasol. Come on, Eleanor. Sweet Petite Bakery and Confections. Big shout out to you and thank you. $30 a month sent to us.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Where is the bakery? Does she say where the
I don't
bakery
know. You're going to have to Google that, I think.
Google it.
Sweet Petite Baking and Confection. Lori above the bar. We know where that is.
Yes.
Big shout out to Lori with a $100 contribution to the show. Wow. Through PayPal. The Red Jack Saloon. If you're planning a trip to San Francisco, you must check out the Red Jack. It's authentically San Francisco. The owners, Lori and Mark, they live above the bar, just like a good sitcom should be. Yeah. Love it there. Kathy O with $10 a month. Thank you for Sarah Kenzior, says Carl Schmidt with his donation.
Big shout
out, Carl.
My words upset so many people.
No, big shout out is what I want.
Big shout out.
D with $11. Leslie Geen with $15. And my Eric. Greetings from Brooklyn, New York, says Eric, with $40 through PayPal.
Big shout out.
Love you. The PayPal links and the Patreon links are right under all our videos, so you can join this crew. Patrick Miller with $5 a month, and Enid with $5, and Corla with $5, and Richard Rachowski with $5, and Jennifer Lentz with $20.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to all of you. Living Aquatic Resources with $10. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
These are all people who contribute and help keep the show on the air. That's why we put their names up at the end of every show. Dominate, said Trump. Wow. I don't know what dominate. Oh, that's what he said. We're going to dominate the streets, or what did he say? I don't know what that refers to. Chaplain Fred with a $2 super chat. Do you know what that means, Kim?
No, but I like the comment.
I see.
Yeah.
Please don't interrupt when I'm doing my shout outs to put something up that you don't know the reference.
My wife and I both love your program. Says on PayPal and Patreon, they let you make a contribution to the show and you can send a message. My wife and I both love your program. God, that's good. Can you imagine if like one of the two doesn't love the program and the other, you know what I mean? Then they're longtime listener and started with KGO. Says Miles with $300 into the show.
Big shout out.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. These and in memory of Frenchie, Nancy Lofdahl. Wow. I'm humbled. I'm also just moved by that.
I'm not gonna cry.
All right, I won't cry. But I think of Frenchie often. It wasn't that long ago. So sad. Treetop Web Design. How about an $11? So a lot of people, they'll donate $11 and because PayPal has a thing. It's like a processing fee. So does Patreon. So many of you pay that, which is so sweet. But even if you don't, it's just great to have you on board. So the Treetop web design people did. Elizabeth Dayton with 20, Mark Fisher with 10, Doyle McLean with $100. Is that Doyle or Dale? Gosh, I wrote it. It's in my long hand. You can see so. Anyway, Mr. McLean, thank you. And $100. Wow.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
And Sue Ann Starner, we got your note, and Tony's going to adjust the spelling of your name, so nothing to worry about. Yeah. That's it for now, but I wanted to thank you, all of you who have contributed, and I'll pick up a list as well. I just feel like we always recognize Patreon, and the PayPal folks are so great to jump on board that way. And PayPal actually does take less from us, a little bit less. But I have to tell you, I don't mind sharing a little bit of every donation with these various platforms that permit us to stay on the air. You know, I don't mind it. So the other thing I would say is if neither one appeals to you and you want to support the show the good old-fashioned way with a check, you can do it. Just send an email to me, and I will tell you how to do it. There's our website, themarkthompsonshow.com, themarkthompsonshow.com. There are click-throughs to Patreon and PayPal there. And if you send an email, themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com, we'll send you an address where you can, I don't know what this is. There are people shouting in the I'm just seeing it now in the chat. It's very funny. I don't know what it's related to, but anyway. Let me just tell you that if you're in the chat and you're using caps, Kim will find you.
I will find you.
She has a special set of skills, and she will find you.
Mm-hmm.
And she will use those skills against you.
Yeah.
All right. I could stay all day, and I want to stay all day. But
The Mark Thompson Show.
We had to reorganize a bit with the David Cay Johnston reschedule. Recognizing on the way out, first into the chat this morning was Trevor Starr in Hollywood. Why isn't anyone here yet, he said. Of course, he came on board super early. I think, maybe not. David is worth waiting an extra day for, says SP is he. I agree. Mm-hmm. Who is throwing bags of stuff out of the White House windows, and what was in them?
We don't know.
Yeah, I do not know. We do not know. We did show you that beginning of the first hour, so if you missed it, you can check it out. Oh, there it is. Tony's going to show it to you one more time on the way out here. Again, second-story window, likely living quarters. Don't know if it, honestly, this is the one thing we haven't been able to ID.
I think Melania's kicking it out. She's like, and you find your stuff on the lawn, by the way.
I don't think Melania cares, to be honest. Melania is truly a, because you don't hear much from Melania, not you, but I mean, one tends to ascribe certain sort of more kind of lofty thinking to Melania. I think we'd be very, very surprised. Melania is straight up money, money, money. Let me go back to Bergdorf, Chanel, and live in New York, because that's what I signed up for. I don't know, I'm not here to do anything for America. I could give an F, Maybe that's too cynical for all of you Melania fans. I'm sorry, but I think that's the reality, Trump getting rid of orange skincare products, says Inlays. Oh, there you go. Well, Trump can't get a break. Poor guy. This audience are so rough on Donald Trump. It's really, really.
It was very inappropriate.
Yeah, I know you don't like it.
Don't talk to me that way.
It's the very, very tough. Hit those thumbs up. Yeah, please hit those thumbs up. It's the White House silverware, says Rick. Again, closest maybe it's it's just one more weird thing. Thank you all for joining us. David Cay Johnston, we move to tomorrow, and we'll have John Rothman tomorrow as well. So big show tomorrow. Hope everyone will be here. And now the great Shadow.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Hey, Tony, thank you. Short week for you. Appreciate that.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
Kim.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.